This is beginning algebra assignment for April 29th, 6-1 through 6-6, leaving out 6.3. On 6-1, 57 through 64. These are all four-term expressions. All four terms, like 58, xy plus y plus 2x plus 2. What we are trying to do is break this down to get it multiplied together. That's what factoring is getting things multiplied together to equal your sum and difference. Okay, on these, the first two have a y in common. We take y out, leaves us x plus 1. The second two, the second group of two, have 2 in common. We take 2 out, leaves us an x plus 1 also. Then, between those two things, we have x plus 1 in both of them. That's your common factor times y plus 2. Now, you always check these with FOIL, or the distributive property. Number 60, 16x cubed minus 28x squared plus 12x minus 21, again, has four terms. The first two, 4x squared, comes into both of them, leaving us 4x minus 7. 3 goes into the second two, 4x minus 7 again. Then 4x minus 7 times the 4x squared plus 3. Number 62, again four terms. The first two, there is a w in common in both of them. Take the w out, leaves us 8w plus 7v. The last two, the only thing that goes into them is 1 plus 1. Leaves us 8w plus 7v in the parentheses. So 8w plus 7v is our common factor. It's in both of them, times w plus 1. 64, again four terms. Take the 6 out of the first two terms, leaves you x minus 7. The second two, take the y out of it, leaves you x minus 7. X minus 7 is your common factor, times 6 plus y. Remember, factoring is getting things multiplied together to equal your thing. Then on 6.2, we did 11 through 22. Number 12, x squared minus 7x plus 5. Three terms. What you're looking for on three terms is first your x squared, x and x to start your parentheses. Then you look at this number, the 5. What numbers multiplied together equal 5? Only negative 5 and negative 1 and 5 and 1. They've got to add up to that number in the middle. They do not, so this is prime, not factorable. Number 14, we've got x squared plus 6xy plus 8y squared. On this one, you're going to start with an x on both of them, and you're going to have a y at the end for the y squared and the y in the middle. Then the numbers that give you 8 by multiplying add up to 6, 4, and 2. Check with FOIL. Number 16, y to the fourth minus 3y squared minus 70. To get y to the fourth, you need a y squared and a y squared. Then the numbers that give you negative 70 by multiplying that add up to negative 3, negative 10, and 7. Check with FOIL. Number 18 is in a little different order. 17 plus 18n plus n squared. So I switch it around. Get it n squared plus 18n plus 17. Then n starts things. Then 17 and 1. Same way with 20. I get it in the right order. Then my q at the start. My numbers that give me negative 27 by multiplying. You got to know your arithmetic and also add up to 6. Number 22. Same way, it's in the right order. I need an a at the start and a b at the end because of the b squared. Then what numbers give you 18 by multiplying and also add up to negative 9? Well, two negatives, negative 6 and negative 3. And we always check with FOIL. Then we go to 6.4, where we'll use the process of grouping to change three terms so we can factor it. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. We take the first number times the last number. 2 times 3 is 6. The number in the middle is our sum, negative 7. We need to know our arithmetic, what two numbers, when they multiply together to give you 6, also add up to be negative 7, negative 6, and 1. So we rewrite what we had up on top as 2x squared. Instead of minus 7x, we put minus 6x minus 1x plus 3. Then we go through our grouping process. 2x out of the first leaves us x minus 3. Negative 1 out of the last two leaves us x minus 3. Then this, and we check with FOIL. Something else, number 22, gives us an idea of when you get this rearranged and have it 25x squared plus 20x plus 4 in descending order, it's called. Then, if you look at your first and last number, can you take the square root of them? You can this time. So, let's look down and see if we put 5x and 2 and 5x and 2, did that work to give me this? When I check it with FOIL, it does. And the reason I did that is because I could take the square root of the first and the last. So I put them down here to see if they would work with FOIL, and they would. Then number 24, back to the process. We have it here. I take 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. My sum is this number in the middle. I look until I find the two numbers that give me negative 60 by multiplying and add up to be negative 11. Sometimes it takes a little while, but it's negative 15 and 4. So I replace the negative 11 in the middle with negative 15x and 4x. That way I've got 4 terms, and now I can factor those 4 terms by grouping. I take 3x out of the first two, leaves me 2x minus 5. I take 2 out of the last two, 2 in front leaves me 2x minus 5. 2x minus 5 is my common factor times 3x plus 2. Then number 6.5, we've got two things with two terms. Is it a minus in the middle with 2 squares, or is it 2 cubes? If it's not one of those, we can't factor it. It's got to have a minus in it and 2 squares for us to factor it as the difference of 2 cubes. As the difference of 2 squares, excuse me. Or it has to be 2 cubes. Something cubed plus or minus something else cubed. Number 20, n to the 4th minus 16. Well, we can take the square root of both of those. Okay? And we've got a minus sign in the middle. So n squared minus 4, n squared plus 4 is how you factor the difference of 2 squares. Then look at the first one. It's 2 squares also with a minus in the middle. So n minus 2, n plus 2. But not n squared plus 4. It's 2 squares, true, but it has to have a minus in the middle. Okay, that is number 20. Number 22. Can we take the square root of both of those? Yes, like this, and it has a minus sign in the middle. So that's how you factor it, so that you have no middle term. Then we get to 2 cubes, and I've written out the rule here. You take the cube root of the first terms of each of the terms, and then I'll show you the process here. On number 24, p cubed plus 1. P cubed plus 1. First thing, cube root of both. So p plus 1 in your parentheses, and then parentheses over here. That p plus 1's out in front. Your second step is you square each of those. You square the p, that goes right here. You square the 1, that goes right over here. And then your third step, you still have the same thing that we had up here, p plus 1, and then the p squared plus 1. What you do is multiply the first two together and change the sign. P times 1 is 1p, change the sign, negative 1p. Then if you multiply that together with the distributive property, it works. 26 and 28, same way. First thing I do, cube root of 27, 3. So 3y minus 1. Leave my room. 3y minus 1 is out in front. Then I square 3y, and I square 1. Step 3, 3y minus 1, and then I have my two squares there. I multiplied those two together, 3y and negative 1, and changed the sign. Instead of negative 3y, it's plus 3y. Then number 28, same thing. First thing I do is take the cube root of both of them, y plus 4z. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. That's the first thing. So then I have y plus 4z, then I square each of those. Y squared and 16z squared. Can't read my writing there, but 16z squared. Then y plus 4z and the y squared plus 16z are still there, but then I multiplied these two together and changed the sign in the middle. It's 28. Then 29 brings up something that we haven't had before, but this is the first thing you always do. 6r cubed plus 162 on number 30. Always look for a greatest common factor that goes into both. 6 goes into both. Then I have r cubed plus 27 left, and I follow my 3 steps. Cube root of both of them, then square both of those things that we got, and then multiply those two together for our middle term. 31, same way. No common factor this time. Cube root of both, then square the two cube roots, step 2. Then step 3, multiply those two together and put it in the middle. Then 6.6, they're already factored here. You said each factor equal to 0, and those are your answers. Number 12, you said each factor equal to 0, do your algebra and find your answer. Number 14, you set each factor equal to 0 and work it out, find your answer. Number 15 and 16, you set each factor equal to 0 and then find your answer by algebra.